Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are so excited to have Donette Ambrosy joining us here. She's the owner of her own company and sound therapist at Fine Tuning Vibrational Therapeutics, LLC, based out of beautiful Minneapolis, Minnesota. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you, Jill. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, I'm excited to get to know you. I've done a little research finding out about you and all this amazing sound therapy work that you do. And before we get to that, let me just have you simply start off by telling us how we can contact you. What is the best forms?
Great. Actually, the best way is probably to look at my website, which is finetuningsoundtherapy.com. All one word, finetuningsoundtherapy.com. And on there, you can find additional contact information for how to reach out to me via email, phone, text is good, and all kinds of information about sound therapy and booking information.
Perfect. Well, let's start off with the basic question of what is sound therapy, right? Because not everybody may know. And I know a little, but not much. And I know you're going to really fill me in because this is your expertise.
Yeah, I love talking about it. So perfect. Sound therapy really is a complementary alternative medicine that's gaining a lot of traction in the Western world now, but actually is really rooted in really ancient sound healing modalities. So if you think about the Himalayan singing bowls that have been found archaeologically in Tibet and other Himalayan cultures, for thousands of years, archaeologists have found bowls that date back 5,000 years or more, and really combining these ancient healing techniques with modern instruments and modern techniques as well. So things like what you see behind me with the quartz crystal singing bowls, which actually stem from the computer industry. They were originally created to grow quartz crystals in them for use in computer chips. Somewhere along the way, someone tapped one or played around the rim and realized that it makes a sound that really induces relaxation and takes people to this deeply tranquil place. And then going back to ancient, you see the gongs in the background. So really, sound therapy is this modality that combines these modern and ancient techniques to help people with all manner of shifts that they really want to make in their lives when it comes to their mental health and well-being, and training brainwave states differently, really finding deep tranquility for profound healing, processing of grief, trauma, improving sleep. And then we get into the physical body as well. Things like releasing pain and tension in the body, in the nervous system. So it's very far reaching. So to sum it up is really tricky, but sound therapy is something that we can use in a lot of different applications with a lot of different instruments. And what I love to do is get highly customized with my clients by way of a one-on-one session where we can really talk about what are all the different things that you would like to see as shifts in your life and your well-being. And then we can develop a protocol accordingly.
Beautiful. Wow. Great speaker too. She's got this down. Let's talk about you a little bit, if you don't mind. How did you discover sound therapy? Do you mind just bringing me back to your younger years and tell me, I also read that you were in fashion before this. So I want to find out about this transition and how you discovered this and switched your career into this.
Yeah. Well, it was actually my fashion career that took me to New York City in my early 20s. And I actually moved to New York City right after 9/11, which any New Yorker knows what a traumatizing time that was. And that was just a really stressful time to be new to the city, and Ground Zero was still burning. And I was trying to find my way, where I was going to live, what my career was going to look like. And during that time, I happened upon spontaneously a visit to the New York Open Center, who was offering sort of a open house day. And one of the things that I happened upon when I went to that event was a gong bath was offered. It was like a little mini session of a gong bath. And I had no idea what I was getting into. I was open to trying whatever. And after I went into this gong bath experience, and mind you, it was an open house day, so it was a mini, 15-minute experience or something. I left that event it's really hard to explain how I felt. My clients probably know how I felt. But I felt like I had this huge burden of stress and trauma that had sort of built up as a result of moving to New York during this stressful time, had been sort of washed out of my body and washed out of my psyche. And I felt
Wow.
lighter and I felt much more at ease. And I really, I spent probably 20 years wondering what the heck that was and why that worked and how that worked and where could I find more of that? Um, and it wasn't until many years later, still as a result of my career in the fashion industry, that I found myself on a business trip in Miami, and I happened upon another sound therapist and realized that that gong bath that I'd experienced was one facet of this much larger modality that was absolutely fascinating called sound therapy. So when I had the experience in Miami, I came back to Minneapolis, where I live, and I thought, okay, I am going through a lot of chronic stress and some trauma as a result of things going on in my life, some caretaking responsibilities that I had. And nothing was really making me feel like I could find a centered and grounded place again. I was feeling like just chronic cortisol rushing through my body all the time. I didn't really know how to feel calm anymore. So I thought I really should seek out and see if I can find a sound therapist. So
Yeah.
I started seeing a sound therapist for one-on-one sessions. And it was really the only thing during that time in my life that I found really brought me back to that place of feeling like myself, centered, grounded, at ease, like things are going to be okay.
Wow.
So I started bringing my husband, and we started doing couple sessions together and became sort of our date night.
Oh.
And it was really interesting to see his healing responses, as well as someone who, came at this with a fresh set of eyes, right? Maybe a
Yeah.
little more unbiased or whatever you might say. And he also found this respite of peace, and also found relief from torn meniscus in his knee. He was having a lot of knee pain, and the sound therapist
Mhm.
was working on that area with tuning forks. And so from there, I started to realize, um, I really want to bring this modality to more of my friends and family. And when I started introducing it to other people in my life and seeing their amazing, intense healing responses, I thought, okay, this isn't just me. This isn't just me and my
Yeah.
husband. This is a real thing that's really has a lot of potential to help a lot of people. And that's when I decided that I really needed to follow this calling and pursue training as a sound therapist so that I could make it more accessible to as many people as I could in my life.
Well, I read about someone who was inspirational to you. Was Natalie Brown? Is
That's
that her
correct.
name? Is she? Tell me how you met her, and then I know you also mentioned a good friend, a Carol, that you wanted to also give some credit to. So
Absolutely.
tell us about them.
Yes, Natalie Brown is a North American tutor through Sound Healing Academy, which is where I got my sound therapy diploma for one-on-one integral sound therapy healing. And she lives in Iowa City, Iowa, and is an amazing sound therapist. She was classically trained violinist from the time she was 4 years old and was a music teacher for most of her life. And she has been so inspirational to me and just an amazing tutor along the way. So part of my training with Sound Healing Academy involved that I did a year-long self-paced case study with clients, with actual clients. And as I met with those clients multiple times along the way and sort of documented their progress, I would meet with Natalie periodically. And she was just a phenomenal support in terms of helping me sort of process what I was seeing as healing responses in my clients, how I could help them better process what they were experiencing. So she definitely has been a really fantastic mentor to me. And she has one of the most amazing podcasts out there. It's called Sounds Heal. And she dives into all kinds of territory around sound and vibrational healing with lots of experts in the field who have written books on the subject. And I mean, she also has an amazing, soothing voice herself. So just listening to one of her podcasts actually kind of serves as sound therapy in and of itself.
Wow, fascinating. Thank you for sharing this. And I also want to, ask you about Carol. Is that her name?
Yes. Yes, yeah, my friend Carol was a real inspiration to me as well. Um, she is a friend who had left a corporate career and found her calling in complementary alternative medicines herself. And when I was really struggling with whether or not I should pursue this, or, what should my life be in the later part of my life, I met with her and she asked me, well, what is the thing that keeps coming to you? And I said, well, it really is sound therapy. And she just posed the simple question to me, if you know that that's what it is because it keeps speaking to you, then what are you waiting for? What's
Yeah.
holding you back? And she really helped me identify and name the sort of self-doubt that I was having, or the imposter syndrome that I was having, and get past that. And she taught me about the power of manifestation, right? Which is, if there's something that you want and you can name it, you have to start saying it out loud and you have to start telling people. And with me, it started with telling people I'm going to be a sound therapist. And I really do believe there's a huge growing body of study around the power of intention. And I really do believe that it was that conversation that I had with her that truly triggered everything that led me to actually following through and
Yeah.
becoming a therapist.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing all this. This is exciting. And I would love, I know, Donette, reading through your notes that we're going to kind of dive into some of these one-on-one sessions and really discuss, obviously, how this works. And I know it's different for everyone, but they're all customizable. But can you give us some examples of, the people that you've helped and walk us through the process? Because I'm on your website reading, I'm looking, oh my God, like the tools, the instruments, there's still so much more I need to learn. So did you want to share some of the stories of the things it helps with, or give us, more
Yeah.
hands-on treatments of these tools and inside the studio? Ooh, this is so cool.
Yeah.
And by the way, we should just point out,
Absolutely.
where are you located again? South Minneapolis, right?
I am. That's right. Yes, I have a studio here in my home, which you can see in the background. Um, and this is where I conducted my case studies, and this is where I see clients now that I've launched my business. I also do group sound baths. If, there's an offsite location where someone wants to have a group, I do that as well. But really, my passion is with one-on-one sessions. And so with that, many people are starting to experience group sound baths and start to get their first taste of sound therapy, and how it can really take you to this deeply tranquil place and just be a really wonderful meditation without having to be good at meditating. And so, once someone has experienced a sound bath or has had a taste with sound many times, they want more and they want to learn more and they want to go deeper and they crave a more personalized, customized experience. And so that is where we can really not only implement the tools that we use in a meditative sound bath, like the ones that I've talked about and that you can see in the background, but also we can start to work with on-body therapies and applying vibration to the physical body. We do that in a couple of ways, but one of my favorite ways is with weighted tuning forks. So you can
I
see.
was gonna say, and what exactly is a tuning fork? Wow,
Yeah.
whoa, whoa. Okay, go ahead.
So a lot of people have seen this kind of tuning fork, which is kind of,
Yes.
the traditional, I can tune a piano using this kind of tuning fork. These are also really important in sound therapy. Then there is the weighted tuning fork. And in this tuning fork, you see the weights here.
Yeah.
And really what those help do is to direct the sound waves down into the stem. So when this is struck, you don't really hear it unless you have it right up to your ear and you can hear this incredible deep tone. It sounds like the depths of the universe speaking to you. But other than that, you don't hear it. And the energy is going down into the stem. I happen to have an attachment on some of my tuning forks. I have different attachments. And those help to really keep that vibration applied to the body in
Okay.
different ways, depending on the attachments. When we apply this kind of gentle therapeutic vibration to the body, there's all kinds of ways that we can use it. But in areas of local pain and tension, these really help to sort of help release and dissipate those pain and tension. I find that with clients, any kind of nervous system blockage or neuralgia sciatica. Those seem to be conditions that respond really well to this type of vibrational therapy. I have one client in particular who came to see me as a case study client when I was still learning. And she was having a lot of sciatic pain that traveled all the way down into her leg. And on one side of her body, it resulted in essentially lack of sensation in one whole side of her calf. And I was still learning and I was sort of experimenting. And as she and I chatted and caught up, it was a friend of mine. I was working all along her sciatic nerve with a tuning fork like this. And we weren't really, paying attention exactly. We were chatting, but all of a sudden, when I had been working in that area where she had no sensation for a while, she suddenly stopped mid-sentence and she was shocked. I can feel that. And I was like, oh, okay, does it hurt? Is it bad? Should we stop? No, please keep going. And so we kept working in this area for several more minutes. And shortly, she was up off the therapy table and marching around my studio, and she was just repeating, I can feel that I haven't felt there for years. And it seemed almost miraculous to me and to her, right? So everyone reacts a little bit differently, but these tuning forks, I have seen some really great healing responses in nerves, areas of pain and tension. And then we get into the application to acupoints for acupressure therapy, energy meridians in the body. And to make it even more fun, I do have different tips that are crystal gems,
Oh
so
my
you
goodness.
pick up the vibration of the crystals as well.
And by the way, this is just one of the modalities that you use, because I know there's the bowls and there's so many other ones that I want to get into as well. But okay, keep going. This is great.
Yeah. So then when we get into the tuning forks that are unweighted,
Okay.
these there have been some fabulous protocols developed for using these tuning forks to the ears for brainwave entrainment, as well as nervous system entrainment. There is a Dr. John Beaulieu, who he's an American physician. He did tons of pioneering research on this field. He started by spending time in an anechoic chamber, which some people may know as, a room that's been designed to be completely free of any external vibration, electromagnetic frequencies, radio frequencies. When you're in a chamber like this, you really start to be able to hear all of the processes that are happening in your body very well. He was able to identify the sound of his own nervous system.
Wow.
And then he noticed that when you go into this chamber in different emotional states, your nervous system sounds different. And he found that he was actually able to entrain his nervous system to where he wanted it to be using tuning forks. So he developed a whole bunch of protocols around this that I use in my sound therapy sessions today, and those are used to the ears.
Oh my goodness.
Then we
This
get
is
into
so
the
cool.
Himalayan bowls.
Oh, yeah. Show us. I can't believe those quartz bowls behind you. You taught me something new. They were used for computer. I mean, that was crazy.
Yeah, when I learned that, I kind of I got shivers because
Goosebumps. Yeah.
the old and the new combined is really a sweet spot for these modalities. So Himalayan bowls, I mentioned these earlier, is one of the most ancient bowls. These can be used in the biofield, right? For the sound, the deeply tranquil meditative state that it helps you achieve, but also on the body to deliver physical vibrations. So for instance, I have a lot of one-on-one clients who come with lower back pain, let's say, and I can apply the weighted tuning forks to acupressure points that are relevant for that, as well as apply the Himalayan bowls in that area. Singing it around the rim starts to really get some deep frequencies deep into the tissue, but in a really gentle delivery kind of way. And I've seen people have some really great success from that as well.
Awesome. I love hearing it. And then also just curious, do you do this virtually? Can we do a session like this online? Could you also help people this way?
I am strictly at this point an in-person therapist. There are, however, some really great things that people can do at home that I highly encourage. Anyone can look up on whatever your music streaming service is. You can look up binaural beats. That's BINAURAL. And you can find playlists that are essentially a sound meditation that work really well through headphones or even just, your speaker, to help put you into a deeply tranquil state. Or conversely, if you're trying to really sit down and focus and get some work done, Binaural beats playlists are usually give you all different options of whether you're looking for tranquility, focus, or whatever different brainwave state you're trying to accomplish, and it helps to entrain your brainwave frequency to the frequencies that are great for achieving that. So binaural beats are a great way for people who can't see a one-on-one therapist or in between visits to still really benefit from that vibrational medicine.
Got it. Well, thank you for sharing that. Wow. And also just want to point out how we can reach you. Let's remind everyone who we're talking to. And of course, fine-tuning-sound-therapy.com. Just want to make sure you guys have the website to reach out. And this is exciting, getting to learn. And you're teaching me a lot about everything as well, the gongs. And there's something else that I read on the site that I just wanted to ask. It's a mat. You use some type of special mat for therapy. What is that?
Yes, that's called the biomat.
Okay.
Oh, I love the biomat. My clients love the biomat. I almost feel like sometimes it's a little bit addicting, particularly in the cold Minnesota winters. So what the biomat is, and it's on top of my therapy table for use by my clients. It's essentially a very heavy cushion that is filled with alternating chambers of amethyst and tourmaline crystals. It generates not only far infrared rays, so really helps to heat up your body's tissues from the inside out so that you can have deep release from, pain and tension. But it also emits negative ions. And
Okay.
so we start to get into, these concepts about polarity therapy and things like that. Essentially, as human beings, our metabolic processes are building a positive charge just by existing. And, typically, our ancient predecessors would not build up the charge for very long because they would be exchanging a charge with the earth, which emits negative ions, right? So
Mm-hmm.
in Minnesota or in many places, particularly in the winter, we don't do a lot of exchanging ions with the earth. We don't go out barefoot and make contact with the earth or hug trees, right? And so people find that being able to find a neutralized charge is also very beneficial to their health. You've heard of things like grounding sheets, perhaps. It's the same concept. And so the biomat emits negative ions so that our body can be neutralized for additional well-being. So combining that with a sound therapy session can be really, really beneficial and kind of a magic combination.
Oh my goodness, I love this. This is amazing. And I've never honestly tried sound therapy. And let me just ask you, it's good for anxiety and stress, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Because let me ask you, there's been such an uptick, right, since the pandemic. I feel like a lot of us suffer from it, or maybe we didn't really express it enough or know, but you hear the term anxiety, stress, and I find that that's just everyone I know around me, including myself, as a mom trying to raise two
Absolutely.
kids, it's, heightened. And, something like this could help me calm and others calm, right?
Absolutely. Many of the clients who come to see me on a regular basis are doing self-care for anxiety. It could be cyclical thinking. It could be perseverating on specific thoughts, or just needing a release from the daily stresses and anxieties. I like to pair one-on-one work with clients with kind of giving them some
Yeah.
takeaway or homework that they can do at home for self-care as well. Many of my clients will buy for themselves a simple C and G set of tuning forks, which creates a
Mm-hmm.
perfect fifth interval and can really benefit from the self-care at home, just from the simple act of listening to the C and the G at the same time to both ears, and then switching hands and doing it again. Just 1 minute a day, right? 1 minute a
Yeah.
day, maybe a minute in the morning, a minute at night, can really help reset. It's great for children too, as
I was just
well.
going to ask, you have children as well, right?
I do. I have a 20-year-old son and I
Oh my
have an
gosh.
11-year-old son,
God
really
bless.
different in ages and in every other way. But they've responded really well to sound therapy as well.
I was going to ask that because I said mine are 7 and 9. I'm just curious how that works. Wow. You do a lot. And also on social media, I can find you there on Instagram, right? Fine tuning sound therapy. Are you
Yeah,
on Facebook as well?
I am by the same name. That's right.
Yay, 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 yay. All right. Well, in closing today, how did you kind of want to leave off for your listeners and viewers about why they should reach out to you?
I would just encourage everyone who has found that there is something chronic that they really would love to have shift in their life. And that could be a physical well-being aspect or a spiritual, mental, emotional aspect. I went into this field feeling very confident that there was a lot of healing power in this modality and very excited about it.
Well, great.
But that excitement is actually just a tiny, tiny fragment of what I have actually seen in healing responses from my clients. I've actually been completely blown away. So while there is no promise for any kind of miraculous cures or anything like that, I really think that it'd be great if everyone in the world could at least experience the
Beautiful.
benefits of therapeutic frequencies in some way, just because it is so non-invasive and honestly quite accessible and something that we all can utilize on our own for self-care as well. It doesn't necessarily require that you go see a sound therapist
Yep.
daily or weekly or monthly, right? But being able to equip you with the tools to take care of yourself as
Well,
well.
thank you. All right, Donette Ambrosy, to reach out, finetuningsoundtherapy.com. Is that how we get you?
That's right.
Thank you so much. Pleasure getting to know you. I hope we get to chat again. If we do, I want to hear more about, the work that you're doing and see it. I would love to see more and, get these client experiences, which I know you have some great testimonials. Go to the website, check her out. And Donette, thank you again for being here.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Same here. You have a fantastic day. And to all of our listeners and viewers, stay tuned. We'll be right back with more. Thank you.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.